It is now well known that there is no mercy among the terrorists of ISIS. Often the men in areas they overrun are viciously murdered. But the women suffer a fate that may be worse than death. Sold into slavery, sometimes many times over, to suffer unimaginable brutality. Tonight, two victims who escaped their monstrous captors share their story with us. The report from our chief foreign correspondent, Richard Engel, in northern Iraq.
The suffering of the Yazidi people. Indelible images of men, women, and children reaching up for help. Food, water, blankets, dropped on the Sinjar mountain by helicopters, many of them American. But help didn't reach everyone. In the refugee camps of northern Iraq, we met survivors of the horror that went on in the village of Kuchu. Its people, seen here in better times, couldn't reach the mountain, so they were still in the village when ISIS arrived. When they took the men, we didn't know how many were going to be killed, says 19-year-old Farida, who didn't want her face to be shown. In fact, ISIS killed almost all of the men, but they had other plans for the women. They were grabbed by the hundreds and sold off to ISIS fighters as the spoils of war. ISIS is reviving the barbaric tradition of the slave trade, proudly showing its fighters in this ISIS video discussing the Yazidi women they're about to buy. We showed Farida the video. She instantly recognized the men. I saw that one and this guy, she said. I don't know their names, but I saw them. She saw them laughingly inspecting more than 80 Yazidi girls, picking out the ones they wanted. All of the girls were screaming and crying because they didn't want to go with them, she says, so they beat the girls and dragged them away by force. Farida was raped repeatedly for 3 months. They sold me from one man to the next, she says. The ordeal was even harder for the younger ones. They raped girls who were 9, 10 years old, or even 8, she says. They would say the older ones know something about men, while the younger ones know nothing. Huwaida is one of those innocents that the ISIS fighters sought out. She's just 12. She didn't know what rape meant, only that she woke up bleeding. He was old, she says, about the man who bought her. He was 50. Somehow, Huwaida escaped, but she's so badly traumatized that only now, 3 months later, is she able, haltingly, to even speak again. She and Farida are being coaxed back by this remarkable woman, Kiman Rashid, from a charity called Wadi. The girls call her Mom. Their real mothers are still being held by ISIS. Farida had never seen the video of the ISIS men. I see this, she says, and I think of all the girls they still have because they are doing everything imaginable to them. We just want justice.
And Richard Engel joins us now from northern Iraq. This story, Richard, leaves one almost shaking with anger. You've seen so much in war zones. How did you process coming face to face with this particular atrocity?
Well, frankly, Lester, there's a word we don't use a lot in the news media, but it fits here. This is evil. It was absolute evil by design. This was not a war crime that happened by accident. This is ISIS policy. Now, luckily, these two girls amazingly managed to escape. They both walked away while their captors weren't looking. They had to walk for hours, knocking on doors until they found people who are willing to bring them to a safe place. Now they are in a safe place here in northern Iraq, and they're getting help.
All right, Richard, and I know they are getting help. You've written a lot more about this. It's on our website, but thank you for being with us tonight.